The shop felt like a courtroom that morning. Yesterday we met short circuits, ground faults, and the cruel dance of arc faults. We learned to chase them with discipline, to log every step, to never guess. Today, Harris promised the final trial of troubleshooting. He called it voltage testing mastery. The training board had been rebuilt overnight. Dozens of switches, outlets, and junction boxes sprawled across it like a city of copper. Somewhere inside were faults hidden, deliberate, waiting. Our task was simple in words, brutal in execution. Find them, fix them, prove we understood the craft. Harris set his meter on the table. Harris, today you earn your place. You will test live voltage, confirm dead circuits, check continuity, and isolate faults under time pressure. If you panic, you fail. If you guess, you fail. If you succeed, you walk as electricians. The foreman stepped forward, his clipboard heavy like a gavel. Foreman, and every step you take must be written. A log is not busy work, it is your defense. Inspectors demand clarity. If you cannot explain your path, you cannot be trusted. He pointed to me first. Foreman, apprentice. What is the sequence for verifying your tester, Jon? Live, dead, live. Check on a live source, then a dead one, then return to live. Foreman, correct. Never forget it. Harris divided us into pairs. Maria went with Kevin. I stood alone. He handed me a work order. Circuit 4 is reported dead. 8. Find the cause. Repair it. Verify safety. My hands tightened around the meter. This was no practice. This was judgment. I began at the breaker panel. Breaker 4 looked normal, not tripped. I tested voltage at its terminal. 120 volts. Present. Logged it. Panel output. Good. Next, I moved to the first outlet on the circuit. Dead, I wrote. No voltage at outlet 1. Step by step, I traced the line. At junction box 1, I opened the wire nut. The connection was tight, no scorch marks. Voltage present on the feed, absent on the load. My meter confirmed. Continuity failed. Jon. Open circuit between junction 1 and outlet 1. Harris watched silently, his face unreadable. I stripped back the insulation on the feed wire. There it was, break. Copper nicked until it had snapped under tension. Repaired it, capped it, tested continuity. The meter beeped steady. I restored power. The outlet came alive. I logged every step. The foreman nodded once, making a note. Meanwhile, Maria and Kevin faced their trial. Their circuit tripped immediately when energized. Short circuit. Maria tested methodically. Voltage at the panel present. Junction. Breaker tripped again. She stopped, logged, reset. Kevin grew impatient. Kevin, it's probably the lamp holder. Just replace it. Maria stopped him. Maria, no guessing. Test. She isolated half the circuit, capped off wires, energized. Breaker held. She tested the other half. Breaker tripped again. Narrowed down, she found it. A screw had pierced insulation inside a box. She re-insulated, reconnected, tested. The breaker held steady. The lamp shone bright. Harris, that is discipline. That is why guessing kills. Kevin lowered his head, humbled, but wiser. The foreman's voice cut through the silence. Foreman apprentice explained the difference between an open circuit and a short circuit. Jon, an open circuit means no path for current. Short circuit means a wrong path, usually low resistance, causing overcurrent. Foreman, correct. And what protects against each? Jon, open circuits show as dead equipment diagnosed by continuity. Short circuits trip breakers cleared by finding and repairing the fault. The foreman marked something on his clipboard. The tests continued. Harris created a ground fault by dampening an outlet. My non-contact tester glowed red against the metal box. I checked imbalance with the GFCI. It tripped instantly. I logged the result. Maria faced an intermittent arc fault. She traced it with her meter until she found the scorched wire nut. She tightened and retested. The circuit held. Finally, Harris called us all forward. Harris, one last test. Voltage drop. Measure at the panel. We set our meters. At the panel, 120 volts. At the outlet, 115 volts. Harris, that is a 5-volt drop, too much. Maria, no, less than 3% drop, acceptable. Harris, correct. Voltage drop kills equipment slowly. Never ignore it. The foreman barked his last question. Foreman, apprentice, what is the purpose of a diagnostic log? Jon, to track every step, avoid repetition, provide a map for others, improve systematic troubleshooting. Foreman, correct. But with logs, they call you professional. We stood, exhausted, our notebooks full of numbers, diagrams, and notes. Harris looked at each of us. Harris, today you learned that wires lie but numbers tell the truth. Test, record, confirm. Electricity speaks, but only to those who listen with discipline. The foreman handed me back my log, stamped with approval. Foreman, you are ready for the next trial. Not just faults in training boards. Real faults, real buildings, real consequences. Next, you face motors and controls. My heart pounded. Motors, controls, moving power, a new battlefield. That night, I wrote in my notebook. Live dead. Live. On contact equals scout. Multimeter equals judge. Open circuit equals no path. Short equals wrong path. Ground fault equals leakage. Arc fault equals fire. Voltage drop equals silent killer. Log everything. I closed the book, hands still trembling from the trial. The circuits no longer looked like puzzles. They looked like enemies I had learned to defeat. And tomorrow, new enemies would come.